As a real estate agent, how do I put a price on a property? What's the criteria that I use to come up with a price where a buyer will see it, be attracted to it, make an offer, and then have it settled? Let's go through that criteria this week. So we're actually going to talk about two things this week. The criteria used to come up with a price on a property that will be attractive enough for a buyer to A, look at it, and B, make an offer. And number two, what do we do in a market that's decreasing in value, and how do we price in that market? Number one, past sales. What has property sold for that's comparable, that settled a month ago or 2 months ago or 3 months ago? In a good market, we might only go back 1 month. In a poor or normal market, we may go back 6 months because there's just not enough sales in a shorter period of time. So number one, previous sales. Number two, property that is currently for sale. And this is important because depending upon the type of market we're in, you either price on a previous sale and come up a little bit, or you look at what's on the market and you become competitive with that pricing. Depends on the type of market. Number three, and we're getting into what I call hazy territory here. As a seller, what do you need? How much money do you need to go on to the next thing? And let me clarify that just a little bit. Just because you need a certain amount of money, that is not the criteria for what a buyer is willing to pay. But some sellers, with the help of agents that enable them, will price a property on what they need, not what it should be. And number four, similar to number three, not what you need, but what you want. So you may need a certain amount of money, but you may just say to me, Daryl, look, I want to get X out of my house. As an agent, then it's my job to say yes or no. And a lot of agents that don't have the experience in this market will just go, oh, okay, and they put it on the market too high and nothing happens. Or you have to start reducing your price, which is what I'm seeing right now. Number five, Aunt Martha advice. So everyone has an Aunt Martha. You say, Aunt Martha, we're thinking of selling our house. Oh, you should be able to get X for your house. And that's what they want to list at, because Aunt Martha has never owned a piece of property, or the last property she bought was in 1908. So that was my dog sneezing in the background. Last property she bought was in 1908. So she doesn't understand the type of market we're in. But some sellers take advice of someone who has no experience in the industry, which makes no sense whatsoever. And number six, agent advice. This is obviously the best way to price a property, because I've done nothing for the past 36 years except price property. I know how properties should be priced. I know what market we're in. I know what buyers will be attracted to. I know the pricing strategies. So out of those six things, the agent advice is your best way to go. But unfortunately, it doesn't always happen that way. I mean, at the end of the day, it all comes down to motivation being, why are you selling? What's your motivation for selling? What's your time frame for selling? That criteria normally dictates how you price a property. Meaning, do you price it correctly or do you price it incorrectly? In a normal or declining market, pricing it incorrectly is the death knell, because nothing will happen and you'll do what we call chase the market down, which we're going to talk about in a minute. So, segue straight into that. Pricing in a declining market, which is what I feel we're heading into, and I really hesitate to say that, but that's where I feel we're moving into. Number one, don't chase the market down. And by that I mean you list here and the market's here, so you reduce to here and the market then drops, and you reduce to here, then the market drops, and you reduce to here. You're chasing the market down. That is a bad strategy in a declining market. Number two, piggybacking on number one, if you're going to have to do a price reduction, be aggressive in the price reduction. I just saw a property that I missed out on about a month ago, listed for $1.85 million. I told them 1.2, which was probably even a little bit high. So they were $650,000 too high. They just went from 1.85 million to 1.75. Complete waste of time. They should have made an aggressive jump, maybe down to offers over 1.5. At least that would start to get them in the range that I originally told them, 1.2. So if you're going to do a price reduction, don't do piddly little reductions. Be aggressive in your reduction. And number three, don't be afraid to underprice the property. It's impossible to undersell the property. Now, I know I might get a nasty email on this one, but if a property is worth, let's say, $1 million and you price it at $800,000, you're going to get a ton of activity on that, because all the buyers will go, oh, that looks like a great price, because buyers are looking at everything on the market. Sellers don't, buyers do. So the buyers will act collectively as a group, and you'll get multiple offers at 800,000 and it'll be bid up to over $1 million. Guarantee it. So never be afraid of underpricing a property, and as a seller, you control what you're willing to accept anyway. So there's no downside in thinking you're too low. None whatsoever. And number 4, again, piggybacking on all the previous ones, have a pricing strategy. Don't just say, oh, it's worth X and put it on the market. Think about the market you're in. And this, I'm really probably talking to the real estate agent here, but as a seller, you should know how we're thinking. Have a pricing strategy. Is fixed pricing the best? Is offers over the best? Is a price guide the best? Is a tender process the best? Is an auction the best? You have to have an agent that understands those strategies for the market that we're in or we're moving into. Don't list with a company, I won't mention their name, but all they do is auctions all the time. That is not a strategy adjusting to the market. That's a strategy because that's what the company tells the agents to do. Number 5, an experienced agent is critical in this process. If we're in a slowing or declining market, or one where price reductions may possibly need it, or pricing correctly in the first place is needed, it's redundant to say this, but an experienced agent makes a difference. An agent that has seen these markets before, not a fly-in that came in a great market, has had some great sales, and now has no clue on what to do. Number 6, don't list with an agent that's what I call the Eternal Optimist, meaning you list way higher than what you should, and they keep saying, hang in there, we're going to get it. Hang in there, we're going to get it. And the market's doing this. Hang in there, Bob, Mary, we're going to get it. Hang in there, Bob, Mary. Hang in there, I know we can get it. I know we can get it. And the market's going further and further and further away. And by the time Bob and Mary realize this, the market's dropped 10% maybe, and now they've got to list with an agent and come all the way down here. So be careful about that agent that is the Eternal Optimist, because that is not what you want in a market. You want a realist in this market. Number 7, be open to offers. In the market we were in recently, and I mean 4, 5, 6 months ago, if we were listed here and someone came in slightly here, we'd go, nope, rejected automatically. You can't be that way in this type of market. If the offer comes in a little bit low, that's okay. You need to start to engage these buyers in the process, meaning an offer and counter offer process. If you never engage them, then you'll never get the possibility to move them up in price. You'll just be saying no all the time, and you never know how high that buyer may have come up. And number 8, piggybacking on that, you have to get buyers to engage. And this is the agent's job. Even if the offer is a little bit low, the agent's job is to encourage the buyer to engage, encourage the seller to engage. You don't want a seller to just say, and if you're listening to this as a seller, you don't just want to go no if an offer comes in lower than what you want. An automatic no won't engage the buyer. You have to bring a counter back to engage the buyer so they come up. Now the buyer might not come up, that's okay. But if 3 don't come up and 1 does, and you get close to, if not the price you want, you'll be glad you encouraged engagement. Number 9, and this was something I was taught very, very early in my career. Sometimes the first offer is the best offer and the last offer. I'll say that again. Sometimes the first offer is the best offer and the last offer. Too often, and I'm starting to hear it already with some of my own listings, I bring an offer in very early in the piece, and the seller thinks, well, just because that came in quickly, another one's going to come in next week. Doesn't work like that. All the activity happens on the front end, and if you get offers on the front end of that listing, meaning once you go on the market, the chance of you continuing to get offers decreases at an exponential rate. So keep that in mind. The first offer may be the last offer and the best offer. Again, this all goes back to your motivation. Why are you selling? And number 10, a little saying piggybacking off that one, offers always look better going than coming. Meaning when that offer's coming to you, you go, oh, it's not that great. And then when it goes away 2 months later, you go, oh my God, we should have taken that offer. Keep that in mind. Okay, so that's probably enough. I could keep going on, but gosh, what I want to say is don't reward that agent that tells you the wrong price initially because they're not in tune with the market and they don't have a strategy, they don't understand the buyers. I see too many people list the property up here and they just keep reducing it until it sells. And they're rewarding the agent for being incorrect and for not being in touch with the market. Don't do that. If an agent tells you a certain price that they can get, another agent may have told you this, and they're not getting this price and they want you to keep reducing, say no. Cancel the listing. and give an agent that told you the truth initially a call, because they're more experienced straight off the bat because they didn't put you in that position and then just waste 3 months of your life. So that's it for this week. So if you're a buyer, give me a call. Love to help you in this market. If you're a seller, give me a call to make sure you don't fall into the trap of everything I've just talked about. And if you're a landlord, give me a call and we'll talk about our rental guarantees. That's it for this week.